And today, we turn our gaze to a continent where memory walks in rhythm and truth is spoken through drum, not textbook. A place where the ancestors did not leave, they descended. Africa. This isn't the Africa the world sells you on screen, not war, not poverty. I'm talking about the cradle of covenants between surface kings and subterranean rulers. You've heard of Agartha, Shambhala, Patala, and the Vril, but few realize that Africa holds some of the most powerful and protected gates into the earth, and some of the oldest agreements made beneath it. Low hand drums. A call and response chant drifts through the air. A warm wind picks up through the branches of the baobab tree. Beneath the sound, a deeper hum. Something under the soil awakens. They tell us Africa is the birthplace of man, but what they don't say is that it's also where man first bent the knee. You see, long before empires rose from stone, long before pyramids caught the eye of the stars, there were thrones not of this earth, and deals carved into the marrow of kings. In Africa, the earth was never just soil. It was a living contract, and below that contract, rulers stirred. The story today is not about what happened above ground. It's about what still waits beneath it. The pact of fire and scales, Zulu and the Chitauri. In the southern lands under the shadow of the Drakensberg Mountains, the Zulu remember a time when the kings did not rule alone. They ruled by permission. The Chitauri, reptilian lords from beneath the earth, approached the earliest kings not with war, but with gifts, language, authority, weapons of command, and in return, they asked for obedience, silence, and legacy. Beneath the earth, in caverns lit by unseen fire, these deals were struck. The kings knelt not to men, but to those who walked in shadow with glowing eyes. Credo Mutwa, last of the true memory keepers, said these beings were not gods. They were dictators of form, and they were here long before the first cattle walked the plains. And he was right. The deep ones of Mali, Dogon, and the Nommo travel north to Mali. The Dogon do not write their history in stone. They write it in stars, in sound, and in water. And deep beneath the waters, the Dogon say, are the Nommo, serpentine, aquatic. Not of our world, but neither wholly apart. They did not fall from the sky. They rose from the sacred wells. They came from beneath the earth, speaking in frequencies and rhythms. The Nommo brought the Dogon celestial geometry, the true timing of Sirius, and soul law, but the exchange was never free. Dogon priests, even today, walk into sacred chambers carved near ancient lakes, not to pray, but to confer. They speak to beings who have not left, only retreated beneath. These are not myths. These are pacts still observed. Congo cosmology and the earth mirror. In Central Africa, the Congo spiritual system teaches that earth is a reflection of the underworld, the living world in Seke, the world beneath Mpemba. And in Mpemba reside the true rulers, ancestors and spirits who decide who will rise to lead above. The Nganga, spiritual doctors, don't ascend. They descend into termite mounds, caves, and sacred groves to receive direct instructions from the ones below. It's not evil, it's order, but only for those who remember the covenant. Serpent cults and kingship in Benin and Dahomey in West Africa, the serpent was not feared, it was enthroned. In ancient Dahomey, modern Benin, the divine serpent Dan, also known in Vodun as Dambala, was said to live beneath the earth, coiled around the axis of power. Kings were chosen not by blood, but by divine alignment with Dan. Offerings were made in underground chambers, and some say the high priest could hear voices from below the floor stones, speaking in tones not meant for the uninitiated. What the West called myth was memory. So why don't we hear this? Because colonial invaders weren't just after land, they were after gateways. They destroyed oral traditions, they sealed sacred caves, they converted shrines into churches and burned the drum codes that once told these truths. But they never broke the agreement, because that agreement was not with man, it was with the kings beneath the earth. And some still uphold it. So when you see ruins in Mali, when you hear of children disappearing near fault lines, when they tell you a leader came out of nowhere to rise in power, ask yourself, whose permission did he get? And who exactly did he kneel before? Because Africa has always been a land of kings, but some of those kings were never human, and some still whisper. This is Tony Vortex telling the ancient stories they buried beneath your feet.